and welcome back. I'm Karen here with Kelly answering your grief questions. We do these videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Right now, we are very much in the thick of the holidays, so we're answering a lot of very holiday specific questions. And remember, we would love to hear from you. There's our contact information attached to the videos that you can always reach us. So, Kelly, this question is going to be for you. How do I still make the holiday special for my children after they have experienced a loss?
Yeah. So I think it's such a good question and so important because there's a lot of grieving children out there. And, as we know, as I probably have said in many other videos, we know that 1 in 12 children will have a parent or a sibling die by the time they're 18 years old. So there's a lot of grieving kiddos out there. And even if it's not the first year, it may be the second or the third year, it still can be pretty impactful for them, and still definitely be impacting how they feel about the holidays. And what I've found from the majority of the kiddos that I've worked with over the years is they want the holidays to be as normal as natural as normal as possible, right? They want to have the same traditions, they want to put up the tree, they want to have the same decorations out, and sometimes that's not always possible, right? Sometimes because of circumstances, financial changes, parents, surviving parents may be grieving as well, and they may have a hard time with being able to do those things for their children as well. So maybe asking for help. And then also, just thinking about what can you do for your children and what can't you, and be honest with your children, like, no, I can't put the lights on the outside of the house this year. It's just something that I am not able to do. I
Right.
find that a lot of my families with like teenagers tend to want to go away for the first holiday
Hmm.
season, and they go to like amazing islands and tropical vacations, and they or cruises. A ton of my clients have gone on cruises at Christmas, and that's worked well for them. So I think it's really about a discussion that you have to have with your family is, we know that this is going to be difficult. What are the traditions that we want to keep? What are things we want to do different? Where do we want to go? Do we
Yeah.
want to still go to grandma's house, or do we want to stay at home? So I think it's really varies on the family, and it's about communication and talking about it. And now, if they're really tiny, you might have to make that decision for them, right? And that is going to be, what do you think is going to be best for them, and what's going to be best for you as well. Sometimes, especially if it's a spouse that's died and you've got little kids, maybe in helping having somebody help come over, put together all the presents and the toys, right? All the things that you have to build, the night before, asking for some help with that. And these are times definitely where it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And then, but kids grieve, through their play. And they still want to have, especially if it's Christmas or Hanukkah, they still want to have this magical celebration that they're used to. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not missing their loved one. It's just they grieve very differently than us.
Yeah.
And so it may not look the same.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you talk about the different age ranges and you talk about the teenagers. It sounds a lot more like how some adults choose to just
Mhm,
do something that does not feel like the holiday at all, like as far
mhm.
away from the holiday as possible that they can get. And a lot of the adults that I work with kind of move in that direction if they're able, if they can.
Yeah.
I imagine for the younger kids, maybe sometimes they just need those things that still feel familiar. Not to mention Christmas is tends to be, very extra special for them with the toys and everything else. So it seems like if you're able to do it, getting it with the help, but it's hard because you're talking about a person who is also grieving.
Exactly.
If there's been a child loss or if there's been the loss of a spouse or even a grandparent or whatever it may be, the person who's caring for the child is also grieving themselves. So I imagine part of it too is if you do have to really immerse yourself in some things that you don't feel up to, also taking some time for yourself removed from all of that as you're able, maybe getting a little bit of extra support or, just trying to not be too immersed in other places. Like maybe if there's a holiday party or things like that, like I've hit my limit. There's only so much holiday stuff I'm going to be able
Exactly.
to do. Yeah.
Exactly. I think it comes down to the boundaries of what you can do, right?
Right.
And but then also checking in with your kids and seeing what they want and seeing if you can come up with a decision as a family. And I've had some families, they do go away that first Christmas, or, and then the next year they're like, no, I want to be back at home. I want to put the
Yeah.
tree up again, or, And so I really think it's just, you have to take it year by year.
Yeah,
You can't say this is the way it's always going to be, because you don't know. You may say you
absolutely.
don't want to do any of the traditions this year, and then next year you want to bring them all back.
Right. And that's the best outlook, I think, in an approach to it, is because then you don't feel like, I think sometimes people worry that like traditions are these things that have to remain unbroken, and that if they break that you can never return to them, and so it's like, I'm not just making a decision for this year, I'm making a decision for all year. And it's like, no, you're not. It really is just this year, regardless of whether you're in the first or third or whatever it may be. And you have to really kind of take it year by year with where you're at. So
Definitely.
yeah. Okay, Kelly. So just to summarize the question, how do I still make the holiday special for my children after they've experienced a loss? What would you say?
Well, I think it varies per family, and you need to maybe sit down as a family and kind of talk about what they want their holiday season to look like. What is maybe the traditions they want to keep? Where do they want to go? What do they want to change? And then, depending, obviously, the adults have to be the ones to make the decisions, the caregivers. And so sometimes they're going to be able to fulfill those wishes, and sometimes they might not be able to, and that's okay. And sometimes, like, each year is going to look different. So just kind of taking it year by year and saying, okay, this year we're doing this, doesn't mean you're always going to do that. You can bring back some traditions, or you can change traditions. And just remembering that children grieve very differently than adults, and they do grieve through their play, and they still want the magic of the holiday season. So to just be mindful of that. And even though you may be grieving and not really wanting to participate, you might have to step out of your comfort zone to be able to do that for your kids. And then also, you might need to ask for some help with
Yeah.
things, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely good suggestions, Kelly. So thank you for that. And thank you to everybody. As we always say, we're here every Wednesday and Saturday. Remember to subscribe so that you can stay up to date.